Still no intro music.
Good evening. No, well, thanks for that, Brian. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday night security discussion, I suppose. Safety and security discussion with the two subject matter experts, Brian and Deon, and one village idiot, me, who's here to be the Richard Hammond to their Clarkson and May, or is it the other way around? I don't quite know how we would structure that.
Village idiot part might well be Clarkson, though. Well,
then
no,
I'll be that.
They seem to share that role kind of interchangeably and at different times.
Well, you know what, without splitting hairs, I'm shorter than the rest of you, so I'll just be Hammond, whatever. I mean, just got physical characteristics. But good evening to everyone in the comments. Good evening to Brian and Deon. Thanks, gentlemen, for being here. I deem you both to be absolute... Well, I'm not going to say subject matter expert because that's a term that's thrown around so loosely these days. I'd rather say that both of you have extensively walked the walk as much as talked the talk, and you have an extensive amount of value to add to this discussion. So thank you very much for being here, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Gideon.
So I'm going to kick off with... it's very audience interactive, so we'll take questions and comments. But I saw that Leo, the man of the moment himself, had some pretty harsh words for the South African security industry. Not undeserved, I would not, in my limited opinion, I don't think undeserved at all. Would you guys like to add some extra context or maybe some comments to that?
I'm super interested to hear what he said, and Deon's like the man to say it. So please let me know, because I haven't heard this one yet.
He's just making my life difficult currently. That's all.
That's what I do, Deon. That's what I do. It's my superpower.
Why is everybody doing it to me?
We love you, Deon.
No, I think if we apologies, my glasses glare, but if I take them off, I can't see shit. So I'll try and do this sort of thing. I don't know.
You're going to be like the cool kids, Deon.
I must maybe get that. I think the message that Leo is trying to convey, and I think it holds true, is, and it's obviously a very complex issue. It's not just this or that. It's this, and maybe some more of that. The message that he was trying to convey is that he feels, and I feel, and I'm sure a lot of other guys in the industry feel, that the security companies as such need to invest better and more in their personnel, training, equipment, and so on and so forth, to ensure that these guys can fight this actual war that's going out there. Because as we've all seen from this video and many others, it is actually a war that's going on. So I think in a nutshell, that's the message, Brian, that Leo was trying to convey, is that we're sitting at in a situation where the security companies, actually his words were, they were throwing their people to the wolves. And he was obviously not generalizing. He was saying, but that is something that happens, that they are throwing their people to the wolves. And that is the issue.
So... If I may, Gideon, unless you wanted to add on something, because I might be long-winded,
no, please,
as is my want.
Please pile in, Brian, and you guys might see my connection stutter for a bit, so just ignore it. But carry on.
Okay, so we'll just ignore you as usual then. Right, so well, first of all, I'm going to agree, because it's 100%, he's not wrong, right? But is he also covering the whole thing? And this is an interesting dichotomy in things, right? Because yes, true, the security companies are probably guilty of doing it. Well, not probably. They are. Many of them are. Not all. Many of them are guilty of doing exactly that, right? Of underpaying, under-equipping, underdeveloping their staff. But at the same token, I think there's another causal factor which leads to it, is that security companies tend to have this Napoleon complex, and they love to self-degenerate their industry to such a degree that their clients look at them and say, well, fine, you're a grade E guard supplier, so we're going to pay you like a grade E guard supplier, and we're going to take the cheapest one because, hey, guess what? You guys fight amongst each other all the time. Me as a client, I'll sit back and I'll watch and I'll wait until whoever's going to uncut and underbid each other and badmouth each other, and I'll save on my budget and just employ the cheapest one because, ultimately it's a grudge purchase for me as a client. Now, is that approach right? No. Is it ethical? Fuck no. But sorry, excuse me. But it's not Whiskey Friday, is it? But it's still the reality of everything. Okay, and I'm sorry. Whilst all of that is true, the security companies also need to stand together and define their market where they're not pitching the lowest cost solution, where they're not pitching, the grade E service for what they are charging for the grade E service. And the reason they're underbidding, and Deon, you know this because you're like one of the most exotic people I know when it comes to tilting at the windmill of saying, F all of you, I'm going to charge what I charge because I deliver quality, even if I hardly get a contract. And that's just my business model. If you don't like it, don't employ me, right? Or don't engage with me or whatever it is. But most of our peers in the realm will say, well, oh, you know what? If company X is charging you Y, guess what? I'm gonna undercut them. I'm gonna underbid them because they're a bunch of idiots, right? They don't train their guards properly, or they get their guards from Zimbabwe or wherever, whatever the case is. And that's just unfortunately the state of the industry. And I suppose it's difficult to say, well, let's take from that and develop. It takes someone of kind of your mindset who's going to say, oh, well, I don't really care what the reality is. This is what I'm going to do, and I'll make the business model work. And I wish it wasn't true, but you're never going to be a G4S. And quite frankly, I don't knowing you, which I do have the benefit of, I don't think you want to be a G4S. No. Right? Sorry, and I'm not trying to brand parallel here, but the upshot is it's kind of this charging at windmills environment, I guess. But Leo's right. The stand has to be made, and something has to happen to change the industry, definitely, and to change how they engage with people. Sure.
Well,
okay, I told you I'd be ranting.
No, I'd like to add some to this because I'm doing my first security actual risk assessment consulting this week. I've got my first clients. They're not really clients because I'm doing it for free in order to build up a base of references. But
you mean you're underbidding everything?
No. It was a thing where I said the first 5 people to contact me, I will do for free. This is what the charge of the price would be. This is X amount for residences and X amount of buildings. Because then I can go, cool, refer me onwards. And I haven't completed the stuff yet. I'm already getting referrals, but that's klaar met die witbrood onder die arm. The thing that struck me the most from all of this is the overwhelming majority of the clients don't actually understand their needs. You can do a risk assessment for them. But then you can't just send them the assessment because for one of the larger buildings I'm busy with, it's a 36-page document of 6,000 words plus pictures. It's a big one. I have to actually sit down with the party corporate and say, okay, you've got they haven't yet, but they will soon be receiving this document. I need to quantify why you should be concerned about the following aspects of whether it's perimeter security, access control, or just your response plan. And this is what I recommend you do. And I need you to understand why it's going to cost you money and why that money is worth spending. Because one of the neighborhood watchers that contacted me, I'm meeting them next week. They have a huge problem in the sense that they've got Fidelity. Now, I'm also not going to spool my backache about my opinion of GeForce and Fidelity and whatever. I mean, that is high volume, low yield work. I did the sums. If you want to secure a neighborhood with 2 vehicles and the neighborhood has 5,000 residents, you're going to need to charge people about R1,000 per month in order to give them really decent service with well-trained personnel. That are there to do, and then only then you're going to have about 2 vehicles you can put in that neighborhood and still kind of make a decent amount of profit in order to ensure that you have continuity for your business in order to be able to keep delivering service and expand it. At the moment, Fidelity ADT's contracts and all other armed response companies are charging about R450 per month, which is less than half what you actually need people to pay. And the only reason they're getting away with that is because they've got such economies of scale because of their size as a security provider that they can absorb that into their operational structure. The depressing result of this is the fact that not only are people not subscribing to even that existing service in sufficient numbers to really render effective community security solutions, it also makes it goddamn difficult for a really high quality service provider to come in with something better, because the immediate brick wall that you run into, and this is something that a lot of people have complained to me about, is the guys go, but I can get the exact same service for half the price. And you go, you're not getting exactly the same service for half the price. You're getting a significantly downsized and cut to the bone service for half the price, but you think you're getting the same thing. And that consumer education side of it is so bloody important, yet it's something the industry has failed miserably at achieving, precisely because it's so busy undercutting itself, its competitors. You almost need a SACA or a chamber of commerce for the security industry to say our only purpose is to band together and cooperate for the purposes of public education and educating the consumer as to what the reality of security provision is in SA. And even that might not get results short term, but you can hopefully start a longer run paradigm shift down the line. Deon looks skeptical at this, so I'm just waiting for him to.
Yeah, let me be that person, because it seems as if nobody wants to fucking name these people. We've got this body.
We'll go. Gooi, Deon, don't hold back.
We've got this body at the top to which everybody must pay fucking fees. Oh, can I say fucking on this show? I'm not sure. It's not Friday.
Folk for Sira, I have to pay them fees. Everyone has to pay them fees.
But once again, it's a government institution with laws from government who does absolutely sweet blue fuck all. Okay. I mean, to get your grade E, C, D, you can just go and shop around. You'll get it for either 500 Rand or 5,000 Rand, whoever fucking sells it to you. And what are those standards really? So I think it's time, the industry, that we start pointing fingers to them, because you know what happens now? John Smith in Koekenaap, apologies for anybody from Koekenaap.
Well, hello and in goeienaand. If you are tuning in from there, that would be quite.
Has the internet reached Koekenaap?
He loses his job, and the next day he starts a security company. You know, he gets his grade A, E, D, B, C, or whatever within 2 or 3 days, and now he can run a security company legally. Other than that, CIRA does absolutely zip all for them, as in nothing. And they do us no favors, because they don't set out standards. The unit standards that's currently out there, I mean...
they're pathetic. I'm sorry to say they are beyond pathetic unit standards.
If you put any of these big security companies, guards and stuff on a firing line, and you get these guys to shoot guns, then it's amazing that not more of them get killed, because they can't shoot for shit. Okay. Now, for me, who's to blame in this thing? To blame in this thing is the company at the top, who should actually then, if they want to police this thing, then fucking police this thing. Sort it out. Right. But they don't. Because what do? They just want the money. That's membership fees, and that's it. And then sometimes they shoot duck neck and say, but no, you're not doing this, and you're not allowed to do this. I mean, they've closed down companies who are more efficient at security than anybody else, but just because they didn't adhere to or didn't belong to CIRA, they were closed down, because now they are operating illegally.
Yeah.
But these guys were operating much more efficient than any of the companies belonging to this government body. So what's the issue in this country? We're back there. We are back in the place where it's government's fault. We're sitting with an inept government, and all their damn bodies that they start and whatever is just a mess. So what's going to happen? The guys on the ground are not going to follow the rules. They're just going to do what they want. And I had a guy walk listen to this. I had a guy walk into my shop many years ago. He stops there with his brand new branded vehicle. And I've known this guy for some time. He used to be in the CPF. And I'm like, what's this now? He says, no, I started a security company. This is my second car. I bought 2 cars in 2 months. Brand new vehicles. Okay, branded the best. And I said to him, what the fuck? What are you doing? And he says, no, did you know that I can actually charge the client at that stage? This is a couple of years ago. I can charge the client, I think he said 12,000 Rand a month. And I pay the guard only 4,000 Rand a month. Do you know what I said to him? I said to him, you better get out of my shop, because I'm going to take one of these knives and I'm going to fucking stab you in the eye. Because if you can sleep at night doing that, then you're a criminal more than what the guys out there are a criminal. And I think that's the issue. The crime in this country comes from the top. Sorry, that I said it. Me. Thank you.
No, well, you're right. Okay.
You're right.
And, again, but is that a battle that the security industry can fight, right? Government? No, it can't, right? So you've got to go back. Well, certainly in my mind, at least, you don't have to. People do what they want to, right? But if you want to put down a strategy that's going to fundamentally shape the security industry in terms of that guard who's getting paid 4,000 Rand a month, okay. And it's just the example. You get where I'm going, right? If you want to fundamentally change that, you have to change people's opinion of the security industry, right? And ultimately, that's going to have to come from the security industry, okay? CIRA is never, ever going to do it. It's like, within the firearms training realm, and I can't badmouth them anymore, and I absolutely think they're monopoly, but Gideon's kind of beholden to them now, so I have to be nice, I guess, right? But I've been in big trouble back in my GOSA days because I was publicly vocal about the monopolies that have no incentive to make changes, because exactly to your point, they're sitting there and they're riding their gravy train, and they're riding their gravy train as hard as they possibly can. And they're not going to upset that gravy train by any strokes. So you either got to look at it and say, well, okay, I've got to accept that and find a way to work within it, okay, or I've got to think about how a fundamental change could be made. And if you start bringing back the realization of what security provision is and what professionalism is in security, and you start making your clients realize that when they pay you whatever it is they pay you, this is the level of skills that they're going to get. They're not going to get, for example, if they go to Deon's company, to Fortis, they're not going to get the grade E guard who has to be taught how to brush his teeth, or who's, paid the 50 Rand or 500 Rand just to get his grade E.
I just want to interject. That is not an exaggeration. Grade E, what do you call it? Unit standards. Part of the learning module is, and I shit you not, there is a section in the chapter about brushing your teeth and other hygiene to it. So that is the level of training, quite literally, that grade E is involved. That and polishing your shoes. So you're not being hyperbolic.
So sad.
That's so sad.
Fucking sad.
And quite fundamentally, that shouldn't be part of it, and that's part of the problem, right? Ultimately, that service should not be offered. I'm sorry, if that level of human capital is what's being sold as the service, then that's the wrong part, okay? Because here's, and again, there's this sort of misplaced concept of what security is. So maybe we should take a step back, right, and define, or at least clarify, what is security. And I was having this very interesting discussion with a colleague of mine, and when I asked her, so you tell me, what do you think is the role of the security entity? Okay, now let's give a little bit more context. This is within a corporate environment, but it translates, and I'll explain now. So they were going on about, yes, keeping the assets safe and the people safe and all that sort of thing. And I said, no, the role of a security department or security service provider is to enable business. That is what its purpose is. Its purpose is not to because Deon, you and I both know, if we were to secure Gideon, right, we'd lock him up in a freaking cell, have 2 Leos at the door and 1 Leo inside with him, right? And no one would touch him because Gideon would be secure. But Gideon would not be able to do what Gideon needs to do.
Shit. Yeah.
Yes, right? Yeah. Because he would be so secure that he would be unable to perform business. So what is a security provider's purpose? Is to enable you to do what you need to do. Now, if we take that into the home security environment, no, let's take it to the farm security environment, because Deon is legit South Africa's top expert in rural security. Okay?
Yep.
There is nobody.
Yeah, he's not going to admit it on the stream, but he is.
He won't, so I will. Right, there's nobody in South Africa who has his knowledge base and understanding of agricultural and rural security. It's just fact. Okay, now, all fact aside.
Thanks, Bryan. I see that money cleared already.
It did. It's 2 mugs, right? Anywho, coming back to this whole thing. It's this. The purpose of security in that context is to enable that business or that activity to continue. Okay, if you want to secure a farmer, yeah, you can secure him, you can stop him from doing anything, but his farming business will collapse, and ultimately he won't be able to pay you for that because he won't be able to generate, or she won't be able to generate the income that they need. So if you look at it from that perspective, and you will say, well, okay, how is my so many comments on this grade E to B stuff. Okay, how is my grade E guard at the gate going to enable my business? And ultimately, when that is sold as a security solution, or even worse, when the cameras are sold, the cameras are come to put down and say, here, you know what, I have 10 cameras, they FLIR, they PTZ, they will make you coffee in the morning, and they will give you a lap dance at night. Okay, those cameras are the best cameras that money can buy, and that is great, and they will not prevent one single crime. They will not enhance your security at all unless they are part of a professional solution. And the grade E guard, just quite simply, as a singular selling point, is not a solution. I mean, you can go back and look beyond South Africa. What? Let's go to Benghazi, September of the 11th. When was it? 2000 and whenever, right? When those poor chaps at the Special Mission Compound got overrun. There was Blue Mountain, Libya, British security company, their unarmed guards. What did they do? First shot fired. Cheers, out of here, bye, gone. Right? What security did they provide? Zip, zero, nothing. They did not enable anything to happen. They didn't enable that mission to function or to survive, and they failed. And again, kind of back to your point, Deon, the industry is accepting of that low standard because it perpetuates that low standard and constantly pushes that. And back to Gideon's point, to a client who often does not know what security is. Okay, back to you doing your big risk assessment. The first thing that I'm sure you've realized now you've entered this strange realm of doing risk management is you have to sit down with your clients and explain to them, that's a threat, that's a risk, this is the difference, this is risk acceptance, this is risk mitigation, this is where we need to go. And you have to walk them through understanding what security is, what risk is, what the management thereof is, and how everything interlinks together. And unfortunately, I think that is the failing, because as an industry, we don't project the Leos, the Deons, etc. That is not what people think of instinctively when they hear security. When you say security in South Africa, it's car guard, grade E guard, access control, picking my nose and taking my driver's license and being rude to me. That is what the image, and we need to change it. Well, the security industry needs to change that. So
before Deon adds wisdom to this, additional wisdom, might I add. A couple of things. So what you said earlier about security not being an end to itself, that is fundamentally important, and there are massive misunderstandings, especially in the corporate security environment about this, because you've got corporate security managers that don't see their function as being integrated with the overall goals and strategies of the enterprise. They almost see security as an end in itself, which means that security solutions don't get effectively integrated because it's siloed. Bryan wrote a wonderful article about silos, which will be published on Fortis this week. So read that stuff when it comes out.
I'll share it.
But that's a huge problem with security managers, and then management itself that not pertaining to security, whether we're talking about the board of directors or whether we're talking about the CEO, the CFO, and so on. They don't understand security either. And because they might also see it as an end to itself, they don't understand the value add of what effective security is. And then you have clusterfuck solutions that aren't real solutions. Not case in point, but yes, Bryan?
No, you go ahead. Sorry, because I got something else, and that's a waffle. So you go.
So what I wanted to add to this is one of the things that stuck out to me in my first couple of assessments is the incredible weight and perceived value, unrealistic perceived value that people attach to electric fencing. They see it as a crucial, almost undefeatable barrier. They don't understand barriers. Exactly. They don't understand that a barrier is purely a delaying tactic. It serves two purposes: to three: delay, discourage, and failing that, a source of alarm for you to deploy a response measure in the event of that barrier being breached. It's not an end to itself. It's a step. People fixate, high wall, electric fence, I'm safe. And it's like, no, you're not. Because and that's a whole long discussion for another night. But if you're watching this and you truly believe that your electric fence isn't as important as you think it is, in fact, it might be the single biggest source of a false sense of security you've got right now. But sorry, jump in, guys.
So, sorry, you go, Deon.
I think if we,
we'll answer that just now.
There needs to be an education process to the public. What boggled my mind the most out of this video that leaked from Leo, leaked of Leo, not from Leo, was the amount of people that asked me, is this real? Is this really happening in South Africa? Does this actually happen in Hatfield, And it showed me one thing, that people are totally oblivious to what we are living in, okay? And that brings us back to a lot of previous discussions we've had. We've had this discussion about people not going to training for ages, and we've been trying to run over this thing all the time. And I think it's back to that. We're in a state in South Africa where I think most of the people out there either don't want to realize, or they are so enclosed in a bubble that they don't know what's actually happening out there. Now, just one step back from that, I had a talk or a chat with Ian Cameron the other night, just shortly before this thing of Leo popped up. We talked about the words that we used were gangs, but I think that's the wrong words, because if in the South African context you talk gangs, then people immediately think Cape Flats. Yeah. And then it's not my problem suddenly, because I live here
Mitchell's Plain and Hanover Park.
Mitchell's Plain, but it's their problem. It's not my fucking problem. It's nothing to do with me. Okay. And I think the actual word that we should use here is syndicates. Okay.
Yeah.
And syndicates is a terrible thing, and organized crime is a terrible thing. And if you stop a while and just rewind that video of Leo's, and Donut Operator did some stills on that video. He did some shots where he stopped the video and said you can actually see the guy shooting at him. Then you need to start asking yourself a couple of questions. And some of these questions are, if these are the type of criminals that are out there and running the show, okay, then what the fuck are we living in, right? What country are we living in? And if this is the country that we are living in, then who do I want to protect me?
Yeah.
Which brings us back to that, eventually, to I am my own first responder, you know. And how good am I in my being my own first responder? But the people out there paying the security companies, whoever they may be, are those people really truly competent? Can that guy fight a syndicate? Okay, because that's who he's gonna. Leo Prinsloo was fighting a syndicate, and it's years of training, years of experience, years of all that stuff. A top-notch operator doing that stuff, and not taking anything away from all the other CIT guys out there who are fighting this thing on a daily basis. I mean, there's a lot of these guys who are doing fucking brilliantly out there. But you and me, Mr. Average Citizen out there, do you actually realize what we are up against in this country? Do you actually understand the level of crime that we are up against in this country? Okay, it's safer in war-torn countries like Afghanistan and Iraq. It's actually safer to be there than to be here. And people don't realize this. And then they are still happy with some fucking idiot at the boom gate asking me for my fucking driver's license every time I go in and out. I want to just, I don't like it.
So Deon, I think you've hit on quite a few things, right? And I'm also going to add to someone's comment or someone's opinion in the comments. No, not that one.
There's the answer. There's the answer.
Yeah, there's always that single magic bullet solution, isn't there? Right? Just get this, and you'll be safe. But here's a lot of what's fault from a big picture perspective. Of course, you like Deon. Deon's an awesome guy.
Thank you, Amy.
Stop interrupting me now with all the comments. But
the money will clear tomorrow, Amy. Thank you.
But here's the thing, right? It's a lot of the security industry holds itself. Well, sorry, no. Let's take a step back. Let's deal with the comment first, and I'll walk it into how it ties in. So the comment was
Stina's comment.
The comment was that I pay for whatever provider it was because SAPS is incompetent. Yes, SAPS is incompetent, but SAPS is incompetently managed. In fact, they used to, I wouldn't even insult the word management by referring to whatever their generals do. Okay. But let's come back to this. Even if you had the best police force in the world, they are not there to provide you with security, right? The government is not there to protect you, or certainly it shouldn't be. They like to say that they are, but that is not their role. Okay, the military is not there to protect you. They are there to defend the country. The police are there to uphold the law, right? Yes. All of these from the South African perspective, but let's just make it utopia for a second, where we have competent police management, defense force management, not this current idiot who's just been promoted to the chief of the SANDF. Anywho, let me come back to that. They are there to uphold the law, defend the country, and by those actions create a safer environment in which you can empower yourself to live your best life, secure yourself, all of those sort of things. Now, we're not in the utopia, okay? And yes, they claim all of those things, but the singular fact holds true is that you are still, as Deon said, your ultimate security provider. And you need to upskill yourself as far as possible. And now, will you ever get to Leo's skill? No, you won't. Not unless you go and join the task force, or maybe go and do the loan operators course with Fortis. Maybe that's a point. Go train with Honor for a very long time. All of those sort of things. Okay, but I will tell you that Leo and his colleagues in the special task force took years and millions of rand to reach the skill levels that to have the natural abilities that they already possessed enhanced, okay? But that does not mean that you need to sit there and be all hopeless and helpless, because whilst the crime threat is very profound and very significant, all of those things, as Deon said, your actions are still the most determinant factor in terms of how your own crime scene is going to go down. And those actions start way back when. Get a good security company, engage with them so you have that good outer layer of protection, but then go and upskill yourself, go and invest in buying a firearm, invest in understanding the environment around you, engage with the structures that allow you to understand the dynamics of where you live, what your suburb is like, should be like, who the role players are, what is the baseline of normality, and what indicates the difference. And that comes back to another thing. Sorry, and I've just got 2 more points here, is stop bluffing yourself in terms of who should be doing what, and control that which you can, which is what you can be doing. Okay, so that's point number 1. Point number 2 is this: for all of those people who say, get this, get that, get the electric fence, all of that, and I'll give you an example of why that's such a fallacy, right? That single point solutions, simple solutions to complex problems do not exist. Okay, it is pure bumper sticker knowledge base, which you should discard immediately because it's stupid. Stupid, right? When way back in the Bush War in Rhodesia, they put down a minefield, big ass minefield to help protect themselves. But then they found out after they put down this big ass minefield, that which they called the cordon sanitaire, that they didn't have enough people to actually watch the minefield. And all that they ended up doing was giving the terrorists that they faced at the time, Zanla, because I think it was primarily on the Mozambique side, or was Zipper as well, right? The largest cache of mines that they didn't have to walk for hundreds of kilometers to the then Rhodesian border to uplift and go and plant in the road somewhere. Okay, because an obstacle not covered by fire, observation, and response is useless. It is, just an obstacle that can be overcome. Okay, that's military 101. And it's security 101 as well. So your camera or your grade E guard or your electric fence or your, license reading, coffee making, whatever thing will never work in isolation. You need to get people with the understanding of how to interlink those processes and deliver the security solution in which you play a role, right? You're not the recipient of security. You're an active component of the security solution or process which you have, right? And that is the mindset that you need to go. And then it gives a whole lot of foundation to, well, which security provider should I do? What questions should I ask them? You need to understand what is the role that you're going to play in this. You work with them, just like you would take a group of training providers and work with them to upskill yourself, right? And not buy into a single chicken wing, okay? But, go and create where you want to be and create your own pathway. The same with your security provider. Understand what solution do you need to enable your day-to-day life or your best life or whatever it is that you want to end up with, and work with the providers who will give that to you or deliver that to you. And that, when you have that mindset, then you as an end user or an end participant will start shaping the whole security industry, because then you won't accept grade E, can't brush their teeth. Okay, then you'll want Leo.
Everybody wants Leo now.
Yeah. To add to the discussion, 2 things. I got a message from a listener/watcher. He said when he had his security/investigation company, they quoted for a cash and carry for 55,000 Rand a month for 10 armed guards, which was way under the CERA rates. The client called him back to say he got a quote for 33, meaning 3,300 Rand per guard per month, with the company making a profit. That means the guard might be paid 3K a month if he's lucky. Is he going to put his life on the line for that? I fucking think not. And that's the whole thing. Goedkoop is duurkoop, mense, and it's more than just, it's again, a complete lack of understanding.
But you see what I mean about people investing in a single point of solution, and you kind of just tapped on it a little bit. So not you, you're okay. you tapped on it a little bit. You kind of bought into the whole mindset of the single point solution. You've got to go like that, Deon, over two, right? Yeah. Will that guard risk his life for me? No, right? But can I tell you something honestly, right? If you had a close protection officer, right, a well-trained one, not like the South African police idiots, okay, but a well-trained one, okay.
Are we going to talk about Ronan? No, it's not. You didn't hear that.
Well, I'll tell you something, right? They are better than the South African Police Protection Service.
Absolutely.
Anywho.
No, absolutely.
Okay,
I just needed to bring that up.
Some of the grade E guards are better than the police VIP protection unit. Anyway, let's go to a different topic. Okay. Probably most of the grade E guards are better managed. But anyway, coming back to the thing that you made, you shouldn't look at that security guard as the person prepared to lay down your life. I mean, just being saying, you've got to say, are they a functional part of your security process, your security system? Are they enabling you, right? Now, if they're that useless that they are going to run at the first sign of danger, okay, then they're probably not enabling you. But if they are there providing a deterrent for your day-to-day functions, that's all you expect from them, that's the role you've allocated to them, right? And you've brought your part. Because here's the other thing. If I have a guard, grade E guard, and I put him outside on the streets in front of my house, I live in a nice house in, what's that? In wherever, in, not where Gideon lives, but the upper part. So what, Bishop's Court, okay? If I live in my house in Bishop's Court and I put my guard outside the gates on the street with the plastic chair saying, you're my guard, and two dudes rock up and they point a gun at him, what's he going to do? There's the gate. Go for it. What have I done as the end user participant in that security solution? Have I provided the guard any means to, see in the distance, or, understand the threat that's coming? Any protection here? Maybe I should have put him behind the gate with the little camera, and then he can look at the camera and say, I'm not opening the gate for that, right? Then he is enabling. But if he's outside the front of the gate, all he is just another figure 11 waiting to get shot. Okay, so his purpose was early warning when he gets shot, except he probably won't. They'll probably stick a gun in his face, he'll be quiet and open the gate for them. Where's your early warning? You get where I'm going. It would be complete fallacy of anyone to expect that guard to Rambo up and take them on with his tonfa or his pepper spray or his toothbrush.
I think another realistic criticism of that is if you're willing to undercut and pay your staff as little as that, it's not a matter of the guy risking his life or not. That's a hyperbolic statement. It's more a case of how is that guy equipped from a human capital point of view from the provider's side? Like, is there training? Is there a professional culture? And this is the other thing. We always say mindset leads. With a security provider, the mindset of your personnel is also what leads them. If they look professional, they're going to feel professional. If they are developing skills and they can actually see their own progress and they are kept rigidly to achieve a standard and exceed it, not only do they understand what is expected from them, but they also, in a sense, feel good because it feeds the human ego, not in the bad way, in the good way that the ego gets fed through growth, through development. You are dealing with a professional creature that believes they are adding value and is, to a large degree, has an emotional connection with adding that value because it's a self-realization need. You are operating at a higher level on that Maslow's hierarchy of needs than someone that's just meeting his base subsistence. And you cannot, unfortunately, achieve a higher hierarchy of need if you keep him at the subsistence level because you're not willing to A, pay him properly, and B, spend money on his development. There's so many layers to this issue that cheap is expensive.
On that point, Gideon, I think that's where the industry is missing a big point. And personally, I think a lot of security companies were started by ex-police and military members in South Africa. Guys who either did national service or spent 2 or 3 or 4 years in the army or in the police. and the focus is on the wrong thing. Personally, for me, if we talk about the hierarchy of needs and so on, and that's something that I think I've sort of figured out over the years, but the focus currently is on getting the guy to all wear uniforms and shine their boots. To wear the uniform and wear grand flashes and belts and boots and shit doesn't make you an efficient operator or security guard. Let's call them an operator for now. I know there's a couple of guys out there who will take offense on the word operator, okay? Just bear with me. But what is a different way of approaching this thing from the security company side? If I started a security company or any company for that matter, and there's room for me to grow, and there's room for me to grow in that company, then suddenly I become a more loyal employee to that company. Okay. So if the company starts looking after me, instead of giving me fucking shiny boots, but start empowering me to be better at my job, then they're going to keep me for 20, 30 years there. And also you're going to create this, the legion, call it, well, it boils down to esprit de corps. I don't even know if that's the right word. So,
No, that's right.
That's the right one.
But the sense of belonging, you know, that family, I'm part of this elite group now. So if security companies would change that onset, instead of, you know, trying to give the guys bright flashes and fucking camo uniforms and shit, and then every morning saluting each other and fucking doing all that kind of, instead of doing that, in Fortis, we've never been very high up on uniforms and ranks and all kinds of shit, although I've been trying for 24 years that the guys must call me Veldmaarschalk, but nobody wants to call me Veldmaarschalk. I just want
Die leier van die volk, Dion. That's actually where we were going.
Volksgeneraal.
Badly.
Yeah,
You know, because I also want to be a general or something. And that's the issue. People are more focused on getting their people to fucking march and fucking salute and all kinds of bullshit that has got
And
nothing.
strek.
Exactly. You know, instead of getting these guys to belong to a specific group and make them fucking grow in that group, if you understand what I'm saying, then you'll get a much better security person, a better security operator, I think. It's what I think. It's been working in Fortis for so many years, so that's what.
And, you know, I think to add on to that, I think if, and here's maybe something you should chat with Ian about. Ian, I'm sounding Afrikaans now. With Ian. Although Ian is Afrikaans, so maybe I can call him Ian, right?
Yeah.
You know, they did wonders with establishing the university that they did. Maybe they can actually look for an academic or an academic track for security provision in this country. Or so in South Africa. It is in this country, right? So
There we go.
yeah, you should actually buy a mug whilst you're on it. Just Deon can give you the details, but they're cool mugs available, right? But you get where I'm going. If they could start from, well, with they, now I'm doing what I tell everyone not to do, put it on someone else. But you know, ultimately, if there was an academic track which would instill both that middle and upper level sort of ambition that you were talking to, and allow people to develop not just within a company, although that is really important, but within their career track, within their pathway, within this industry, right? Then they can start growing some pride in the term security professional or security officer or security operator or whatever nomenclature you want to put onto it. Because ultimately, you know, it's the people who do it right deserve the recognition of their professionalism, right? Yes, people like Leon, but Leo's a special case, okay? There are very, very few people who've achieved becoming a member of the task force. But let's just look at the sort of the general sense is, you know, when you instill pride, you also you create that ambition for self-development. Somebody was asking me about my qualifications. Yeah, I'm quite proud of them, but I'm not going to waste our time here. There's a lot of letters I can put behind my name, but you know, you're welcome to look at my LinkedIn profile. It's there. But you know, if the industry got off its high horse and stopped saying, well, you're my competitor, I may never speak to you, type of thing, and said, well, okay, how about we circumvent CIRA's nonsense, because CIRA will never do it, even though they should be the entity to do this, right? Let's chat with some educational providers, right, like AfriForum or whoever, and say, put together an academic track where someone can go certificate, diploma, degree, up to masters if needed in security/risk management, the collective disciplines, right? And here's the very cool thing, which, you know, South Africa is actually so well poised for this, is the security industry is changing really, really, really quickly. And a lot of people, you know, they look at the world around and they have this, especially in South Africa, they look security as something that a guard provides, right? But security now, and then they look at the other sort of sectors. Well, then there's information security, and then there's risk management, and then there's cyber security, and all of that, right? Now, all look at these as individual disciplines, etc. And here's the thing: the way this industry is running, all of those are confluencing. They're coming together.
Yep.
And you're going to see very, very soon, you're starting to see it in some places as well, where when they look for security operatives or officers or professionals, they want someone who's got a balance of hard skills. So there's still a little bit of, oh, we want you to have been in the military or police, which I think is wrong. But, you know, it is what it is. So they'll look for hard skills. Then they'll look for the management level skills, and then they'll look for all of those other disciplines: information, investigation, risk management, all of those sort of things. And I think if an educator within South Africa could recognize that and build a curriculum where that sort of confluencing can occur within someone's career track, it will do a lot to not only, you know, sort of boost the reputation of the industry, but to bring the industry together. Because, again, to your point, where do most security providers come from? Well, they're former police and military. What do they know about cybersecurity? Oh, no, that's just some shit that somebody in the back office does. I don't know dick about that. Okay? Except it's going to be a factor. It is already a factor. I have a friend. Well, he's a friend of all three of ours. All three of us know him very well. And he's got all the hard skills you want to have. But I can tell you something. He provides more security by tracking down people using open source intelligence and taking real threats off the playing board before they even happen, then, you know, any, you know, sort of hard skill only security company will ever do. Okay. And again, that's not to denigrate the hard skill security companies. Okay. What I'm saying is, they need to step their game up, because that is what's happening. That is the criminals. They will jump, or the threats will jump through all of those silos without any halt. They'll do what they need to do to target their people, right? Or to get their targets. And security providers need to up their game from that perspective as well. Sorry, that was a long waffle.
Absolutely, and we're nearing the end of our hour, so I'm going to get the guys to give some feedback to us. So a couple of things. Bryan, if you can't find Bryan, this is Bryan's name. Find him on LinkedIn. He's got a lot of interesting qualifications. He's done a lot of interesting things. We should actually just have Bryan's bio scroll down. Helgard asks if we're doing proficiency and competency training at CHS. Yes, we are. Please come train with me. I'd love to have you. And also, if you've got questions or queries, because we're going to bring the show back next week, Thursday, same time, if it suits you two gentlemen on screen right now, because I think it would be a really cool talk, is Deon from Fortis Group, who's linked in the description, Bryan, who's Apparatus co-author, partner, part of the furniture
Contributor.
here by us, contributor, you name it, whiskey drinker. If you've got comments, queries, questions, hit me up at the CHS Guns email address, because that's one I actually respond to, because that's where the clients find me and it pays my bills. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to die dookies om. So yes, we do firearm proficiency training. And yes, we do security consulting now. And yes, we do refer to subject matter experts like Deon and elsewhere. And yes, we'll take questions for the next show, and we'll take ideas, and we will take whatever you want us to discuss. And here's one for Deon. There are certain concepts. Oh, wait, I thought this was a question. Sorry, Deon. I got you excited. But, Goy, you haven't had time to talk yet. So.
Must I say something now?
Yes, I think so.
You can say how awesome I am, dear.
Yes, I was just about to. Brian. But apparently it's all in LinkedIn. You can just check it up on LinkedIn. It's just there.
So the difference, just wanted to say, the difference between instructor and facilitator is very little. You're looking for the difference between instructor and assessor, because the instructor facilitates, the assessor assesses, and a suitably qualified person can do both. Sorry, Deon, I interrupted you there.
No, it's fine. I just think it's important to understand, and I mean, we've talked about it. CIRA is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Apparently, the government's not going to do anything. I think we live in a funny and unique country, which sort of forces us as citizens to be more involved in this country than in other countries. In a country like Australia, and I can talk about Australia, but in a country like Australia, the government runs the show and you don't need to check up on them. Yeah, you can, but not to the same extent as here. And everybody's sort of doing their bit, But seeing that we live in a country where you and me as citizens of the country, I think we've got a much, much bigger responsibility than maybe elsewhere in the world. But certainly we've got a massive responsibility in this country to be part of. Okay. And that starts off with, knowing, getting yourself in the know, learning. We did a video a couple of years ago about this fallacy of people burning CDs to make you sleep. All right. It's somewhere on our Facebook page a couple of years back. If you want that link, or on our YouTube channel, it's there as well. The point I'm trying to make is that people will believe bullshit like that, and instead of fact checking it, they will just believe it. All right. The only CD that can make you sleep is if they play a Justin Bieber CD. That's the only. Otherwise, there's no issue. But
sleep or throw up.
So the point that I'm trying to make is, in South Africa, as a citizen, you have a responsibility, and it's your responsibility to find out how bad crime is, and it's your responsibility to find out what you can do to safeguard you and your family, and it's your responsibility to find out if your security provider is actually competent enough to provide the security, and it's your responsibility. We must stop with this, I'm paying you, so you must sort it out. It suddenly becomes my responsibility. And we need to adopt that culture. We need to be in the mindset of, it's mine, it's my responsibility. So although I do pay you for the service, it's still my responsibility at the end of the day. And I must sort of check up on you, because that's where we live, that's what we have.
And Deon, before I'd like to add to that. Henty asks how fit you have to be. We're going to add. We will talk about that as well. Just to Teresa, this chat is available after the fact. It is recorded and will be available on the Facebook and on the YouTube channel. So don't stress. You can go rewind and watch the whole thing. That's exactly it, Deon. You have to be involved. You have to take ownership of the structures you put in place, even if you are getting a provider. As we said in Business Management 101, you can delegate responsibility as far down the chain as you want. You can never delegate accountability, and ultimately you will always be primarily be accountable to yourself. So and your family for that matter. So own that accountability. But back to Henty's question, which is a relevant question, and Deon's the right guy to answer it.
Uh, okay, the fitness part of loan operator is not to disqualify anybody. Let's just get this part right. Okay. The fitness part of loan operator is to make people understand that the ability to safeguard yourself is not just about shooting a target. Okay. The ability to safeguard yourself is you need to be fit enough to get down on your knee and get up again, and maybe get down on your stomach and get up again, and get down on your back and get up again. I always ask the people the following question. I'm being attacked in my home 2 o'clock in the morning and they shoot my wife next to me. Now, I'm not going to divulge any weight or anything, but let's just hypothetical say your wife weighs 50 kilograms. Have you ever tried pulling 50 kilograms of dead weight while trying to fight? All right? Or your teenager for that matter, or whatever. And that's how fit you need to be.
Yep.
So what we're trying to do in loan operator is not to see or not to disqualify you because you cannot do 10 push-ups, but to cultivate a mindset that you must also work on your fitness. So what we do in loan operator is we set a benchmark on day one, okay? And then working from there, every month we'll do fitness, every month, so that you can improve your fitness over the period of time, so that you are strong enough to fight and stay in the fight, okay? And that is basically what the fitness part comes down to from loan operator.
And that's
Wendy, well done, eh?
Wendy's bringing the hardcore stuff.
I'm sorry, can I just add to that? Because Henty says, don't let that block you.
Yeah.
If Leo and Deon want you to run 5Ks with gear, they'll get you to where you need to be to run 5Ks with gear, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Deon, I'm speaking out of turn because I'm speaking about your course, but and no, I haven't attended it, but I do know Deon, and I understand the personalities behind training, or the psychology behind training. This is not Full Metal Jacket where some dude is going to scream at you and say, this is my rifle, this is my cock, and drop down and give me 5 million and 12 push-ups. Okay? You know, that sort of sadistic nonsense gets left very quickly by professionals. Okay? And again, you know, Leo's a former task force guy, and I'm sure when you go and do the loan operator course, you'll chat with him a little bit. And as reticent as he might be, because most of them are to speak about it, you might glean from discussing with them that all of the physical fitness stuff that they get put under when they do fuss bait is not to make them physically fit. It's to test their mental mindsets. Okay? So what Deon and his team will do is, if you need to run 5K with gears, they will work with you and develop you to get to running 5Ks with gear. And that is kind of the thing. And I wrote an article on Paratus about it. Gideon can link it into the resources. When you look for any person to go and do training with, think of them as a developmental partner to your end goal. Okay, and the true professional instructors, people like Deon, Onabolo, James Smart, Mark Heman, all of those people will all have, and Leo as well, will all have this characteristic of being developers, not sadist chicken wingers who want to shoot you in the stomach and then make a funny Facebook video about you. Okay, let's get that one out of there and do it. I can promise you something else. You will enjoy it. Courses like these, when you learn about yourself, are brilliant. They're a little tough, but they are awesome. And they help you change your mindset. That stay in the fight mindset, that, you know, positive, forward, engaging mindset. And that's going to flow out through your entire life. It's going to make you a better person, better husband, better father if you are one. It's going to improve you all around. Go and do it. You'll love it.
Arno always goes, stay in the fight, keep fighting. And I think that's the mindset that you're talking about. It's that keep in the fight. No matter how tired you are, no matter how weary you are, stay in the fight. And that's the mindset we're trying to cultivate in this thing. And that's where the fitness part comes in. So.
And on that wonderful bombshell,
Can I
which
say
is
one
highly.
thing before we go?
No, let's do one more thing. Go.
Okay, just one thing before we go. Go and get training with Deon and then with Honor, with all of those people. If you like this video and have found value, hit the subscribe button below, right? Share it, use it as a resource. Go to Paratus. We have got some fantastic resources there. Go to Fortis. Go to all of the real good, genuine people who will contribute to your life, and spread the word. Build a community of like-minded people who will take ownership of their own lives. That's a seminal change.
That's perfect. And if you want to help us pay for hosting, the StreamYard subscription and my internet, you can snap scan us there. You can send us super chats and stuff in the comments and super stickers or whatever on the YouTube if you're hooked up to that. That's a snap scan, and we appreciate every cent that helps us keep the channel going. And hopefully we can do these chats as a regular thing and interact with your questions on a weekly basis. So again, send your questions, your comments, your stuff to me at this email address. You can pause and rewind as you need. Bryan, Deon, guys, thank you for this. I know we've gone over time a little bit. I really appreciate you taking this hour in the middle of a week out of your schedules. Well, this sort of, I just get left hanging. There we go. It's been great. Thanks to everyone's comments and questions. We'll see you here next week again, 7 p.m. Wednesday. Don't know what the date is. Whatever, doesn't matter. It's next Wednesday. How many Wednesdays are there in a week? Have a fantastic evening. Stay safe. Stay in the fight, and see you.